Just ahead on CTV News.
Hugo Hernandez Mendez, the man charged with killing 19-year-old Dakara Thompson, had his day in court today. We'll bring you details coming up.
And the county recently found inconsistencies with fingerprints affecting over 300 cases. Plus, we spoke with Congressman Glenn Ivey about the war in Iran.
And I think under no circumstances should we be putting troops on the ground in Iran, because that's how you turn this into definitely a long-term quagmire like we had with Iraq and Afghanistan.
Those stories and more tonight on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for March 6th. I'm Jonathan Hunter.
And I'm Brandon Williams. Thank you so much for joining us.
Now we're turning to our top story. A man accused of killing a 19-year-old Prince George's County woman appeared in court today as the case against him moves forward.
And prosecutors say the suspect is responsible for the death of Dakara Thompson, who disappeared last summer after leaving a Hyattsville gas station.
CTV's Michaela Newton was in the courtroom today and has the latest.
Today was a very emotional day for Dakara Thompson's family members, a lot of them wearing pink in the courtroom to show their love and support. But what was really interesting is that the defense filed a motion to move the trial out of Prince George's County, claiming that the case started as a missing persons case, but is now being publicized about the immigration status of Hugo Hernandez Mendez.
It was very emotional because there were moments where I didn't know which way it may go.
Carmen Thompson, Dakara Thompson's mom, was pleased with the judge's decision to deny a motion that would have moved the trial out of Prince George's County. In court today, the defense attorney for Hugo Hernandez Mendez argued the case has received excessive publicity, specifically addressing comments made by Congressman Glenn Ivey and Prince George's County Executive Aisha Braveboy, who publicly stated that Hernandez Mendez was undocumented at the time of the crime. His attorney argued those statements could make it difficult for their client to receive a fair trial. The defense also argued that Dakara Rose's Law, legislation that would educate the public about missing persons cases, further exaggerated the problem. But the state argued that they believe there would still be a fair trial if it takes place in the county.
The murder was committed in Prince George's County, and I am confident that a fair and impartial trial can and will take place in Prince George's County.
Hernandez Mendez was indicted on charges including common law murder, tampering with physical evidence, and burying, disposing of a body in an unauthorized place in the death of 19-year-old Dakara Thompson. Thompson went missing in August of 2025 after last being seen leaving a gas station in Hyattsville. Her body was later found in Anne Arundel County.
I just didn't feel like he should be accommodated. You know, we're the victims in this, and we just want justice for our daughter.
Thank you, Michaela, for that report. We will continue to bring you more details on this trial.
Prince George's County Police audit hundreds of cases over fingerprint irregularities. Fingerprints collected by one other investigators has prompted an internal review where they found inconsistencies with 300 cases dating back to 2021 and going to 2025. The department determined that 134 cases needed to be re-examined. Officials say the issue was with one examiner and that this was not a system-wide issue. During the re-examination process, officials determined there were no erroneous identifications. County Executive Braveboy and Chief Nader say they are committed to transparency, accountability, and the integrity of the criminal justice system. We did reach out to both offices for comment, but they declined.
Healthcare and WSSC were top of mind this morning at the Prince George's County delegation meeting. At the beginning of the Zoom meeting, they heard from representatives from MedStar who went over the hospital's plans to build a modern intensive care unit. Then they discussed and voted on two bills related to WSSC. The second bill they discussed is House Bill 1185. This would allow an employee who was suspended for disciplinary actions to appeal their decisions on the Office of Administration hearing.
The backstory of this basically is that individuals who are suspended for, disciplinary suspension now also have the right to appeal to the Office of Administrative Hearings. Before, it was only those who had been dismissed, but this now includes those who have been suspended.
The delegation voted in favor of both bills they discussed.
Senate President Bill Ferguson spoke today to outline their legislative priorities are moving forward now that the General Assembly is more than halfway over. He says a top priority for them is now to reimagine the economy and to support business growth. Just yesterday, the Maryland Growth Initiative bill was introduced. The bill is aimed at supporting small startup companies. Senator Guy Gazzoni says this will help with a lot of people who are trying to start a business.
There's a saying called the Valley of Death, that you get going and then all of a sudden you need more money. You need more support. And that's where we're focusing with this bill. We're going to be devoting some more money, $5 million to this project. We're going to put an additional $5 million to the project that we had before. And those two things, we believe, will do a really good job of continuing to move us forward.
And Senator Ferguson says another key priority for them is the Youth Reform Charging Act, which modifies how youth are charged for certain crimes.
It's safe to say it's been a busy week with the U.S. and Israel sending missile strikes on Iran. And the latest is Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem being relieved of her duties. Today, I had the chance to chat one-on-one with Congressman Glenn Ivey to get his reaction to everything that's been happening in D.C. Right off the top, what was your reaction to the sudden firing of the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem?
It's about time. I mean, that's been long overdue. I thought she was unqualified at the time when he nominated her, and sadly, the Senate confirmed her and put her in a position that she had no previous experience with, and I think that showed from day one. I think it was almost a daily train wreck with respect to her and how she ran that agency. ICE went from bad to worse, and we saw with the killings of Preddy and Good there in Minneapolis that they were out of control. And instead of her reaction being, my goodness, we need to rein this in, she came on television and said that, he was a domestic terrorist and tried to basically character assassinate both of them. So I thought that getting rid of her is a big step, maybe, hopefully in the right direction to overhauling the Department of Homeland Security and especially ICE. We'll have to see.
And do you believe her removal signals deeper problems within DHS, or was this more about her leadership and accountability?
Well, apparently, Trump was upset that she didn't take the fall for that $220 million ad campaign that she ran featuring herself and paying off the boyfriend of one of her employees. So when she said at a Senate hearing that she'd run it by the president and he agreed to it, apparently that for him, that was a bridge too far, and he fired her after that. But, sadly, he let her stay after the killings of Preddy and Good. He let her stay after, the initial stories about the spending of the $220 million came out. He let her stay even though it was clear that DHS was being run into the ground. So I don't know that this is going to be a change in policy. I think it might just be another loyalty test for Trump. But Democrats are going to keep pushing to make sure that ICE, for sure, gets reined in. The push for judicial warrants to go into people's houses, body cameras, which she said she would do, but it's never come to pass yet. No mask, having your identification information on your outer garments, at least for ICE agents, just like every other police officer across the country. We're going to continue to push for those things.
There were bipartisan concerns about DHS operations and controversial enforcement actions. What reforms do you think Congress should push for as they move forward?
Well, the ones I just mentioned certainly are important. I think the end of roving patrols and racial profiling by ICE, I think, is very much a top priority. They've been slapped down by courts across the country for doing this, but they continue to do it. The detention facilities are horrific. I think they've had around 50 deaths in these detention facilities, and we've got a facility here in Maryland and Baltimore that, we're going to go tour soon just to continue to keep an eye on it from an oversight perspective. But it's, we've got better shelter space for pets than for these people. So I think it's time for them to really clean up their act. They need a complete overhaul with respect to what they're doing here with ICE and the Border Patrol agents, here in the interior of the United States.
President Trump wasting little time in naming her replacement. He's nominated Senator Markwayne Mullin. What would you want to see from him as this confirmation process gets underway?
Well, I mean, hopefully he's going to be able to learn quickly on his feet, because he doesn't appear to have much of a background either in law enforcement or national security, certainly not from a managerial standpoint. And this is a huge agency, one of the biggest, I think, just under the Department of Defense and maybe the Department of Justice. They've got a budget that's bigger for the ICE budget is bigger than the FBI budget. So there's a lot to manage here and try and get back on track. And clearly things are moving in the wrong direction with respect to ICE and the Border Patrol piece. FEMA's been having trouble as well. And, a lot of that's driven by the president playing favorites with respect to who gets disaster relief funding. But, a new secretary, hopefully, can come in, learn fast, turn these things and get them back in the right direction, have the agency running in a way that it should and has under the previous Democratic and Republican presidents alike.
And if you want to catch my entire interview with Congressman Ivey, head over to our YouTube page at PGCTV online. You're watching CTV News. I'm Brandon Williams.
And I'm Jonathan Hunter. Still to come, a local police officer is going viral on the internet after making a special delivery.
You don't say. We'll have the details on the heartwarming story behind it when we come back. Stay with us.
I just knew that I wasn't the high-performing person I used to be. Pieces of my past are being erased. I was lucky. We caught this at the very earliest stages. I hope that my story can give other people hope. There is life to be lived. Increasingly, there will be treatments. We need to invest even more in research and finding treatments and cures. If your loved one or you yourself are sitting there thinking, something is wrong, I'm not who I used to be, you can get some answers and you can get them for free.
Welcome back. A $25,000 award is being offered as investigators seek answers in a fatal shooting. Prince George's County Police found a body in Riverdale on Tuesday. The victim is 42-year-old Francisco Martinez Enriquez, was found here at the 6800 block of Patterson Street. The chief medical examiner ruled the cause of death as a homicide and that Enriquez died from a gunshot wound. Anyone with any information regarding this case is asked to call 301-516-2512.
And a local police officer is going viral and being celebrated for his heartwarming actions. A Greenbelt police officer had pulled over a Toyota Prius traveling on the wrong side of the road. During the traffic stop, the woman told the officer she did not have a valid driver's license, but was just trying to make an honest living and deliver DoorDash. The officer took it upon himself to give the food order an official police escort to the customer. The department responded to the viral video saying, sometimes policing means enforcement, sometimes it means discretion, and sometimes it means making sure someone still gets their dinner.
And in other news, the CDC has issued a level 2 warning for people traveling out of the country due to an increased risk of polio spreading in 30 countries. Officials urge travelers to practice enhanced precautions. Polio is a highly contagious disease affecting children under 5 and can be spread through contaminated food or water. Here in Maryland, the polio vaccine is required for public and private school students, but it can be waived for religious exceptions.
Maryland's LGBTQ+ caucus unveils its priorities for this legislative session. One of the bills the group is backing is House Bill 1589, known as the Certificate Modernization Act, which will put a Category X on birth certificates for transgender and non-binary Marylanders. The caucus says the bills are a reaction to the Trump administration's attack on gay and transgender people. Another measure is House Bill 627, which would study the history, culture, and civics in education and make recommendations on LGBTQ+ curriculum.
This is particularly important when we talk about combating bias against LGBTQ+ people. It also addresses concerns that many parents of LGBTQ+ students and LGBTQ+ parents themselves have expressed about school curriculum and the fact that it has either dismissed or erased the contributions of our community.
And the caucus will be pushing to get 12 bills passed this legislative session.
Maryland's First Lady is stepping into the fight against health officials. Officials are calling a dangerous psychoactive substances being sold in everyday stores. Don Moore testified before the Maryland Senate Finance Committee backing Senate Bill 820. The legislation is designed to crack down on substances like kratom, phenibut, and tianeptine, and would ban deceptive marketing aimed at children and prohibit sales of certain products to anyone under 21, often marketed as supplements or energy boosters, despite not being approved by the FDA.
As the First Lady, a mother of two, and a fierce advocate for the health and well-being of all Maryland children, this bill is personal for me. I know firsthand how impressionable the minds of our young people are. And I know how often companies consumed with making a profit use predatory tactics to target some of our most vulnerable populations. That's why I'm proud that we are pushing to establish strict state-level controls on psychoactive substances that we know can inflict significant harm.
Health officials warn the substances can trigger seizures, respiratory depression, and liver damage, and also addiction. Lawmakers are now considering the measure in committee.
And consumers in Maryland could soon pay less at their grocery store. The proposal, called the Protecting Against Predatory Pricing Act, would ban stores from using consumer data to track shopping behavior and get individualized prices. But some critics say the plan could drive businesses out of the state. Economists told the Baltimore Sun the legislation could give consumers more certainty as utility and living costs continue to rise.
And Maryland gets in the fight to block a new round of tariffs. Maryland is one of 24 states that have asked a federal court to block tariffs that President Trump instituted last month. The lawsuit filed in the Federal Court of International Trade called the latest round of illegal and is requesting a refund to states. After the U.S. Supreme Court struck down his previous tariffs, Trump announced new tariffs that use Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974, setting the global tariff rate at 10%. The lawsuit contends the statute the White House is relying on has never been put into use, and the Trump administration is applying it falsely.
Still to come on CTV News.
Hundreds of women gather at Bowie State University today. CTV's Katara Jones gives us a preview of the big event.
A conference brings together survivors of sexual assault and partners working to end sexual violence across Maryland. I'm Katara Jones. I'll have all those details coming up on CTV News.
Together, we build. Yes, those, but not just those. We're here, and also here, and most definitely here. Together, we can build affordability, opportunity, joy. Home is a foundation, a launch pad, where we can focus on what matters most. Habitat for Humanity has helped tens of millions of people around the world build their lives on their own terms. But we have so much more to do. Because 1 in 3 people on Earth still don't have a safe, affordable home. We believe everyone deserves a place to call home. Will it be easy? No. But we're not afraid of getting our hands dirty and doing the hard work. But we can't do it alone. We need you. Because all of this starts with home. And home starts with you.
For years, an organization has brought together stakeholders in the sexual violence prevention space to network and brainstorm.
That's right, and the group's Hallmark Conference is celebrating a major anniversary this year. CTV's Katera Jones is standing by in Bowie with more.
The Maryland Women of Color Network is marking its 20th annual Sexual Violence Prevention Conference. And this year, the conference is reflecting on the past while also looking toward the future of their movement.
We gather here once a year just to come together and remind ourselves of why we're in this work.
The Maryland Women of Color Network held an all-day conference at Bowie State University today. The event gathers nonprofit groups who are working hard to end sexual violence and gender-based violence across Maryland.
We get to talk about where we've been the last 20 years, but also get some insight about where can we go in the next 20 years. What does the next 20 years of activism look like with all the technology, all the digital stuff?
The conference featured several panel discussions. Some of the topics included the healing of Black mothers, intimate partner violence, among others. The event's keynote speaker was Dr. Indira Hinar, the president and CEO of the DC Rape Crisis Center.
Where the movement is right now, we are at a crossroads. We are at a place where we are being challenged at every step of the way. We are being attacked. And I think that this is an opportunity for us as a movement to have a hard reset, to really think about what is the next level of our work.
Organizers say they want participants to leave with hope and excitement about the activism work they do to end sexual violence in Maryland. Katera Jones, CTV News.
And the conference also featured its annual awards program.
Charles and Doris Mickens.
And during Women's History Month, CTV News would like to highlight and honor notable women from right here in Prince George's County.
That's right, and today we would like to spotlight Dr. Charlene Mickens Dukes. She made history as the first female president of Prince George's Community College.
She is also the first woman to serve as the chair of the Maryland Democratic Party. Through education and public service, Dr. Dukes continues to break barriers and elevate representation throughout Maryland.
Service is the way that I grew up. My parents were community activists. There is something that's real about inside and outside the Beltway. There are things that are real about Ward 7 and Ward 8. There are systemic practices that continue to hold up racial inequalities, and that, quite frankly, if we don't talk about it and do something about it, who will? That's the way that I've always looked at it. If not me, then who? And if not now, then when?
Holding the title President Emerita, Dr. Dukes worked in higher education for nearly 42 years.
That's a long time of service.
Really
She
is.
also served as president of the Maryland State Board of Education after being vice president for 2 terms.
Well, if you've been waiting for that extra hour of daylight in the afternoon, the wait is almost over. Daylight saving time begins Sunday when clocks will move forward 1 hour. Daylight savings time was introduced back in 1966 to make better use of evening daylight and reduce energy costs. However, critics today question if it's actually useful. Daylight savings time also serves as a timely reminder to check and replace smoke and carbon monoxide detectors in your home.
And mark your calendars, the National Park Service announced yesterday the estimated 2026 peak bloom date for cherry blossom season. The famous Yoshino cherry blossoms are expected to reach peak or full bloom between March 29th and April 1st. The trees typically bloom for several days, but blooming depends on weather conditions. The 2026 National Cherry Blossom Festival runs from March 20th through April 12th and will feature events including the Blossom Kite Festival and Petapalooza.
And it's Friday, and we know that sports page is going to be on fire. Ain't that right?
Definitely. I hear the high school sports scene is hot this week, Simon.
Stay tuned for your Friday sports page, everybody, because I have some exciting news from the worlds of basketball and lacrosse coming your way. Don't move.
This high school gym used to be packed most nights. Not anymore. Do you know why? Because bad behavior by fans, especially adults, has caused a shortage of game officials across the country. You see, without officials, we can't have sports. Don't let this become reality. It's time for a change. Let's bench bad behavior for good.
What's happening, sports fans? Y'all know what time it is. Let's get straight to it. Now, first up, if y'all haven't heard, the state high school basketball playoffs are going on right now, and some girls teams from right here in the county were in action last night. First, Bowie took down Annapolis High School 56-48. CMIT North sent the South home, beating them 44-39, and the Lady Raiders in Eleanor Roosevelt crushed Laurel 62-19. Switching gears to college hoops, the UMD women's basketball team took the court last night versus Oregon in the second round of the Big Ten tournament. Now it was a close game at halftime, y'all, with the Lady Terps only leading 32-31. But in the second half, the Lady Ducks offense woke up and outscored Maryland 42-36. And this last triple hit by the Lady Ducks sealed the deal, and they took down Maryland in the end 73-68. This is the second time in a row this season that Maryland has lost to Oregon. Moving on to more basketball news, Lanice Bias, the mother of Terps legend Len Bias, has passed away. After the tragic death of Len in 1986 from a drug overdose, as well as her other son Jay in 1990, Dr. Bias turned her grief into purpose by creating the Bias Foundation. She also traveled around the country educating young people about the dangers of drug use and empowering her audiences to be able to make it through tough times. Definitely sending my thoughts and prayers to the Bias family. And sticking with news out of College Park, congratulations to Lady Terps lacrosse player Kristen Shanahan on being added to the Tewaaraton Award watch list. This award honors the nation's top male and female lacrosse players around the country. The New York native has had a great first season in College Park so far, ranking second on the team in points with 22. She also leads the team in assists with 11. Maryland has won 8 of the last 13 Tewaaraton Awards. The award recipients will be announced at the end of the season. Meantime, the Washington Wizards fell to the Utah Jazz last night, 122-112. Guard Trae Young, who made his debut with the team, posted 12 points and 6 assists in 19 minutes of action, while former Turk Julian Reese put up 18 points and 20 rebounds. That's right, y'all, 20 rebounds in the game. Washington will take the court next versus the New Orleans Pelicans on Sunday. And wrapping up your Friday sports page, the Washington Capitals will take the ice tomorrow versus the Boston Bruins. The puck drops at 12:30. And that is your Friday sports page. Have a good weekend, everyone.
All right, thanks, Simon. We're now going to take a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, we'll have showers until about 1 a.m. Tomorrow, we'll have another foggy morning with a 50% chance of rain and a high of 62. Sunday, it'll reach 70 degrees and more rain will be on the way. I'm looking forward to that 70. Monday, we finally get a break from the rain. It's going to be mostly sunny with a high of 72 and a low 54.
And for our community calendar, tomorrow, Council Chair Crystal Oriata and Council Member Juanica Fisher are hosting an expungement fair. Criminal records can affect employment, housing, and even citizenship. Legal professionals will be available to review your record and assist with expungement filings. This event takes place from noon to 2 p.m. at the Paula Brown Performing Arts Center. To register, scan the QR code on your screen.
And do you have a story to tell? You can reach out to our CTV News tip line.
That's right. You can give us a call at 301-386-4085 or send us an email to ctvnews@pgctv.org. As always, we look forward to hearing from you.
And that's going to wrap up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you guys again on Monday. Have a good night and an even greater weekend.